You wake up one morning to have breakfast with your 1-year-old daughter. As you're feeding her breakfast, you notice something's not quite right with her eyes. They're a little bit crossed. You don't really think anything of it, but then after a couple of weeks, it actually gets a little worse. So you take her to the doctor, and the news you hear next is beyond belief. This is Hope Stories. Welcome to Hope Stories. My name is Mitch Kaloris. Today we have a special guest, Sasha Quinonez, the mother of Marley Holland. Marley has been a longtime patient here at Cure for the Kids Foundation. Welcome to Hope Stories.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. So Marley, when she was just a young child, about a year old, you started noticing some things that were, not quite right. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened in the early days?
Yes. When Marley was 1, she was diagnosed with neurofibromatosis. We got that diagnosis here at the Cure for the Kids, and they sent her off to get MRIs because with neurofibromatosis you can grow tumors inside your body and outside the body. And we got that diagnosis, and we did an MRI, and she was clear. And then it was about maybe 10 months later when I started noticing a cross-eyed in her right eye. And it would go off to one side and the other eye would be straight, and it would just have a lot of motion that didn't seem normal to me. And so I called up the Cure for the Kids and said that, I'm not sure what this is. Can we get seen by a doctor, or do I take her into the eye doctor because it's the eyes? And so we referred over to an eye doctor where she would get evaluated by the eye doctor. And he suggested that we do another MRI. And as we waited for the referral for the MRI, with the matter of a few weeks, it wasn't no longer cross-eyed. It was really like rotating, and I started to notice a protrudeness with the eye, and it looked like it was starting to protrude outwards. And I brought that up, and within a matter of another week, it had gone from normal looking to completely protruded out. And it was very, very noticeable. So we got that MRI.
Marley's just a toddler now. I mean, she's like 2 years old, correct?
Yes.
I mean, how was she doing during this time? I mean, how did she handle this problem? I'm guessing it affected her vision at some level, right? So
yes.
Tell me a little bit about that.
So when she got the MRI and the doctors came in, they told me that when they did the eye test that they were very concerned that Marley might be completely blind. And they pulled up, the doctor came in, and then another doctor came in. And before I knew it, there was a whole crowd of doctors inside this little room that I was in with her. And my heart dropped because one doctor, your regular doctor, coming in and telling you what the results are. But then I seen a whole group of doctors, and they told me that she will most likely become completely blind, and that she was the worst case that they had ever seen in their years of work.
So this was diagnosed as optic glioma, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And tell us what you know about optic glioma in terms of what it is.
A tumor that's on the optic nerve, and then in her case, the tumor was so large that it was wrapped around the optic nerve, moving towards her left eye. So that's why they were so concerned with her being completely blind.
Yep.
They said that she probably has very limited vision in her right eye. And she would need surgeries and she would need chemotherapy treatment. And so they scheduled us for a port placement. And then the next day we started chemotherapy treatment.
And so when you did that, when the chemo started, that was here at Cure for the Kids Foundation, is
Yes.
that right? And you worked with Dr. Lasky, is that right?
Dr. Lasky and Dr. Ionar.
Okay, okay. And so this is back in, let's see, Marley's now 9 years old, right?
Yes,
Gonna
she's
be
9.
10 next year. So this was back in, what,
18.
2018?
Yes.
Yeah. And she's 2 years old at this time when she's going through this, yeah?
Yes.
So tell me about, she's been diagnosed with the condition, you've had a port placed for chemo.
Yes.
How is she dealing with this?
Pretty well. Confused, and it was really hard because when you have to take your kid in, you have to get blood work, and kids don't always want to cooperate sometimes, and they don't understand. Yeah. So it was really hard on me because I would have to like a bear hug her just so that they could get blood work, and even when we would go through treatment, I have to, because she doesn't understand, she didn't want to be poked.
Yeah.
And that was really hard.
Mm-hmm. So that was 2018, you said. So how long was the treatment for her for each of these conditions?
Well, for the optic glioma, she started at 2 and ended her treatment about 7.5. So it was a very, very long treatment, along with multiple chemotherapy treatments, trying to stop the growth, which eventually it did stop the growth, but there was still the problem of getting that tumor to shrink, which it didn't. And we would have to take her. I don't live in Las Vegas, so I live an hour out of town, and so it became difficult. I'd have to come 2 to 3 times a week for treatment, and other appointments that followed with the chemotherapy, the side effects. There was one time where I thought that from the chemo she lost her hearing because she was having issues with her hearing. Anything too loud, she would grab her ears. And luckily, they said that her hearing was fine, but it was just probably a side effect from the treatment. And then I noticed when she would walk that she would have a swing. And so it made her have balance issues and walking issues. And we had to go get her SMO braces for her feet. There was a lot of side effects from losing her hair, which I had never cut her hair, and it was so long and curly, and just to watch it all fall out, and she would cry because she was losing her hair, and she would notice that. But one thing that would make her happy through treatment is music. Music was a very good outlet for her.
What would she listen to?
She loves all kinds of music.
Yeah.
She loves Taylor Swift. She's a big Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah.
But any music, and I have tons of pictures and videos when she'd get her treatment, and that music is one thing that would help her. And even Miss Sue, she'd come in and help her through her pokes and sing to her, and trying to encourage her like this. We're just trying to get you better.
So she went through 5 years of
Yes.
chemotherapy, and she also had some surgery, correct?
Yes. The first surgery that, well, she had the surgery for the port placement. That was her first surgery. And then I had to take her to UCLA, or I'm sorry, Primary Children's Hospital and Salt Lake City. And we worked with a very good eye doctor there, and he did a biopsy of it. And this was after probably 3 or 4 years of chemotherapy treatment. And he did a biopsy. We sent it off, and they said it was just a normal, like, tumor that's associated with the neurofibromatosis. And then about 1.5 years later, we came back to Salt Lake, and they eventually had to remove her eye.
How old was she when this happened?
7.
7 years old.
She was 7, and I took her to Salt Lake, and I walked her back to where I couldn't walk anymore. And I seen her walk down with the nurse, happy, and it was supposed to be a 4-hour surgery, which turned into a 6-hour surgery. When the doctor came out to tell us how surgery went, which it went great, but he said there was absolutely no vision in her right eye. The tumor was so large and so wrapped around the optic nerve that he had never seen anything like it.
When she was going through this, was she in a lot of pain?
Yes.
With the eye? Did the eye actually hurt? How did she handle that?
She would complain of headaches, and she would feel her on the right side, so she would have a lot of headaches, and she would say, "Mom, it hurts on this side." And she would cry all the time and hold her head because it was so painful for her.
When you went to Salt Lake City and they had this surgery, which was successful, as you said, there's got to be a long recovery period for this, right? Mm-hmm. How was Marley doing after this? How did she handle all of this?
She was devastated. She didn't want her eye removed. She just wanted it to be better, but she didn't understand that we had already tried everything we could to try to save the eye and save the vision. When she got out of surgery, and we go back to our hotel, and she had this big bandage over her eye. She's like, I don't like this, I want my eye back. And I tried to explain to her that this was the best option for her, and I'm sorry that I had to make that decision for her, because she's a minor, and so I had to make a very big decision for her. And then,
I mean, she's just a kid. Right?
She's just a kid. She doesn't understand.
Yeah.
And then we see the eye doctor again because we spent like a week in Salt Lake. We go back to the hotel and back to another doctor's appointment a day later, and he takes off the bandage, and she notices herself in the mirror. And at this time, it's the eye is gone, so she's not seeing the eye no more, and it's very swollen and bruised from such a major surgery.
Sure.
And she really lost it and thought that she wasn't beautiful no more, and I had to encourage her and tell her that yes, you're beautiful. You'll always be beautiful.
It's a difficult thing to do when your child is so young and doesn't really fully understand everything that's going on, right? I got to think that was very, very difficult for her to deal with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
was at this time, was when she was going through the chemotherapy, and then of course with the subsequent surgery, how did she handle it with her friends?
Well, at the beginning, she wasn't in school, so we mainly stayed home. And then when she was able to go to school, she struggled because some kids, and at this time she still had the protruded eye, and it was very, very noticeable. So kids would ask her and it make her self-conscious, or
Of course.
sometimes she would even get teased, unfortunately. And it made her very heartbroken because she's such a sweet, sweet, sweet girl, and she just wants to be friends with everybody.
Yeah,
and she
she
didn't
sure
understand why kids would say that about her. And they just tell her that, you know, they're noticing it, so they're asking you. And unfortunately, sometimes kids
Yeah.
are not so kind.
Of course.
But they don't understand either.
Yes, yes. So when she had this surgery, they removed the eye. It's a harsh reality, right, for anybody who goes through something like this, much less a small kid. What happened after that? Did they have a prosthetic eye that they inserted, or how did they go from here?
So the eye had to heal first before they could place anything inside the eye. So we waited for another referral to a prosthetic who makes prosthetic eyes. And what they first did is they gave her like a little clear lens, kind of like a contact, and it got placed in there so that there wouldn't be any kind of debris or anything, kind of foreign objects getting inside the eye and infecting it.
Sure.
And then they they came in there and put this little piece in her eye and poured liquid in there, and it made the shape. It made the shape of her eye. And that took about 5 weeks to get. And
at this time, how old is she?
this should be about 8 years old now.
Okay.
And she gets the prosthetic. And that, when she finally got that and seen it, and she had never seen, she was 2 when she got this diagnosis, and she had never really seen herself like
Right.
that before.
Sure.
And it gave her a lot of hope, and she was like, I like it. And
great.
she was so happy to finally have that encouragement that I feel normal.
Yep.
And
Yep. Yeah, I could absolutely understand that. How, from that point on, she's about 8 years old then. She's 10 now, right?
Yeah,
She's going to be 10 next year.
she'll be 10 in March.
Yeah. So a lot of time has passed. This has been the majority of her young life going
Yes.
through this whole thing. After she had received the prosthetic eye, how did it go from there? What happened after that?
We went home, and she went to school, and was just a lot happier. And she learned how to take care of her eye, and because we have to keep up with making sure that it fits correctly, because she's also a growing kid.
Yep.
And so she's already, in the year's time, she's already needed another prosthetic. So she had to already go in. She actually just received this like 4 months ago, and because she's grown so much, and now just gotten another one. But she's learned how to take it out herself, clean it, take care of the eye now. And now she goes every few months to here at the clinic for monthly checkups, monthly blood works, and every 6 months we do an MRI to make sure that nothing's coming back.
Right. Is she, when did she finish chemotherapy?
She was 7. I think it was,
Like 2022.
yes,
Yeah.
something like that. It was just before the summer, and the doc, we like to go out, and she likes to go out and adventure a lot. And we got the clear that she was good to go, and we took her on a big road trip.
Where'd you go?
We went to Oregon. We have a,
That is a big road trip.
yes, we have a big school bus that the whole family converted, which we love to travel in, and she loves that thing. I have pictures of her laying down the sink and helping clean it up and helping with the build and painting. And she loves to fish. She loves to sing. Life has been so good.
And she's made the adjustment then. You know, how did that go once she got the prosthetic eye? Obviously she's growing, so that's going to be an ongoing thing for some time, right? How has she made that adjustment now that she's past all of this?
Very well. She's excited that she gets to stay in school more. She doesn't have to miss school anymore. There's not as many doctor's appointments and not as much blood work, which was the worst thing for her. She did not like the blood work.
Yeah, I don't think people really realize how, you know, when something like this happens, how your whole life can get turned upside down, right? Not only for your child, but for you, for the parents.
Yes.
And, you know, you mentioned that, you know, you have to come out, you know, multiple times a week. You live over an hour away. You know, this upsets, you know, work, you know, everybody's schedule. This is something that just, you know, everything's optimized for your child, obviously.
Right.
And, you know, for Marley, having to, you know, come in and do some things here at the clinic, or have some things done, poke from chemotherapy or blood work, or all of these other tests that she has to go through, MRIs from time to time. You know, these are all stressful things that kids have to go through, and parents do too.
Yeah.
You know, tell me a little bit about, as she was going through this. I mean, obviously she was, you mentioned that she was, had a lot of stress and so forth from that. How did she handle this throughout its progression?
I mean, when she knew it was a doctor visit day, I struggled to get her into the car, because she'd fight. She's like, I don't want to do this, because she's not only getting a poke, we're sitting in a chair hooked up to her medication and everything else, and then she'd get sick, very, very sick, and so we'd have to stay extra long to get medicine to help her with what she's going through, and it was very long days for us, because we live over an hour away. So we'd be in treatment for about 7 hours, because you have to have that run time with the medicine, and then make sure that she's getting fluids, and then making sure all her vitals are good. And then chemotherapy, you get sick, then she'd have to have medicine, because another strain of medicine run through to help her not be as sick. And it's so hard to have a kid sitting in a small room and they're hooked up to monitors, and I would run around pushing this little monitor, and she'd be running around and asking Miss Sue for Play-Doh and the kitchen toys, and or she'd be on her tablet, and she would have music playing, and she'd fill the whole room with music. She'd be playing, and everyone just listening. You go. And music was, when you put music on, she'd sit there and sing along, and it would help her get through it.
Tell me about, you know, because when she was first diagnosed with these two conditions. I mean, she was 1 and 2 years old, and now she's, going on 10. What one of the things that people don't realize when something like this happens, and it's, in addition to, the family situation, the jobs, traveling great distances, all of that stuff, whether you're close or far, you still have to come in and have this, dealt with. For her, at that kind of age where, she's well along in this, and now she's getting to be the age where you normally go to school. Tell me about some of the challenges you had with that as she became a kindergartner, first grader. Kind of how did that work? How did you deal with all that?
Well, at first she wasn't able to go to school, so she is technically a year behind than what she would have been, because she wasn't able to attend class because we were going to treatment so many times a week. There wasn't time for her to go that. And then when you're in school, you're around other kids, and then we had to be so careful because her immune system wasn't like other kids.
Yep.
So I had to be very cautious with school, going to the grocery store, going to all of her appointments, and that was really hard. And it even got harder when she was in treatment when COVID happened.
That's right. I mean, it's just a whole other curveball thrown at you.
Yes.
Right.
And
with its own set of challenges.
It had a lot of challenges. I even had to take her older brother, out of school because he would you go to school, you come home with sicknesses all the time, and I took him out of school and then started homeschooling, and would have her on ABC Mouse so I could try to give her an education, but without exposing her to the germs that happen in school. And that was really, really hard, because the first year when we got the okay to put her into school, she had to wear a mask lots of time. And I had to have the school and this was still during COVID time, even after, I had to really stress to the school, like, hey, I need to know if there is any kind of sickness exposure in the class. So that was really hard to do. And I had to have the teacher, okay, hey, I have a sick kid, just want to let you know that there's a sick kid here for Marley, because we have to keep her as away from isolated as possible.
Yep.
And
that's something, when you're in a school situation or any kind of public situation, it's hard, right? It's very difficult to monitor that, to make sure that she's, in a safe zone, so to speak. So I could completely understand how difficult that could be. And again, when parents and children are thrust into this kind of situation, they don't realize the ramifications and the ripple effect it has throughout your life.
yes.
Yeah. So let's go back just a minute to when she was first diagnosed with these two conditions. She's obviously has visible symptoms. There's things going on. How did you process that news when you were first told?
Just devastated and heartbroken. Even felt like a little bit of a, like, is this my fault, or did I do something? Could I have done something else to help her? And it's just that with neurofibromatosis, it's just kind of, you don't know if you're going to get a tumor. You don't know what's going to happen. And she did. She got a very serious, it's serious no matter what, but which made it where her eye was exposed, and we had to be cautious because it was so exposed that it could get hit on and things. She would be a kid and play with her toys and knock herself in the face, and it would hurt her, and because it was just so exposed. And I'd buy her sunglasses to try to keep on her face to try to protect the eye. Trying to just figure out what do I do? What is what is the right treatment? What is the right surgery? Is there so many questions like
Yeah, yeah,
to
you're just
to do?
searching for answers, right? Lots and lots of questions for sure. So when she was going through her treatment also, she was on a variety of medications,
Yes.
correct? How many different medications was she on during this time?
Well, for the whole time, she would have medication for nausea, making sure she didn't throw up very much or try to stop that feeling of wanting to throw up so much. She was also on an antibiotic the whole entire time through chemotherapy because she had a port. So she had to take an antibiotic because there was a foreign object in her body. And so we had to make sure that that didn't ever get infected. And one time it did, and they had to do a whole round of different antibiotics to clear up that infection.
Yeah.
And on top of getting a regular cold, which for her it's not just a regular cold, it's more for her.
Absolutely. Yep.
And I remember even when she actually did get COVID and we had to be in the hospital, and then she couldn't get her chemotherapy treatment for that week, which made it hard because then she had to go through another medicine process to help her fight the COVID. So it's just, it was a very long journey.
So when you know, and again, these are things that you don't think about when stuff like this happens, right? But how was I'll call it the back end of that, when she's being prescribed certain medications, she's going through all of this treatment. Were there any issues with how your insurance handled all of this? And tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, there was many problems because the doctor would prescribe her a medicine, and that wasn't covered on our insurance. So they would have to go back and find something that was more cost effective for our insurance to pay for, or I'd have to pay out of pocket for her medicine. When she had the eye removed, they paid for the surgery, but then when I went down to get her medicine, it's pain medicine because she was going to be in pain. She had a major surgery and some antibiotics to make sure that there's no infection that happens with that. The surgery was paid for, but they wouldn't pay for her medication. So I had to pay out of pocket for that.
And these are not trivial costs either.
No, they were. It was very expensive. And then, luckily, even though I had to pay out of pocket, a lovely foundation, the Candlelighters, I told them that, hey, they made me have to pay for this, and it's cost effective, and so they would help out reimbursing me.
And Care for the Kids Foundation, where you were being treated, that they have people who advocate on your behalf as well. Is that right? Is that right?
Yes.
Tell me about some of the stuff that they did for you in terms of going to bat for you on insurance and medications.
They would handle the insurances myself or them for themselves, and help me out with stuff like gas cards because I live so far away. That's a lot of money going into my gas or my repairs, which they would help out with gas reimbursements and medication reimbursements, or let me know that, hey, they should have paid for this. We don't know why Medicaid isn't paying for this.
Were there any situations that you came about where, in this case, it's so specific, right? It's you have this problem with the eye gets removed, there's a prosthetic made. Was there anything along the way that was a surprise from an insurance point of view that you thought, oh, okay, no problem, this is going to be covered, or, tell me about if you had anything like that happen.
Yes, after her last surgery. When she got the prosthetic, and I assumed that would be something that they would cover. But at first they were like, this is a cosmetic thing. It's just cosmetic. And I was like, well, I mean, like, I don't think so. And so that took a long time for the insurances to approve that, and having the doctors be like, no, she needs this, even for back then for medicine. And they're trying to say, well, this medicine's not covered. Well, she needs this medicine. We need to have her approved.
So it wasn't only, the back office people at Cure for the Kids, but also the providers going to bat for you to make sure the insurance companies understand that this is absolutely vital and
medically necessary. Yes.
Yeah. Well, listen, I mean, how is she doing now? How is Marley doing?
She's doing very well.
She's going to be 10.
She is. She's excited, very excited to be 10. Very excited to go to school. She is such a people person. She loves people. We'll be in the grocery store, and she'll be like, hi, and just saying hi to everybody, and she's everybody's best friend.
She's a great kid.
She is. I get so many compliments about how sweet she is, and she got Student of the Month for being the sweetest kid in class, and she is a very caring little girl. If she sees somebody crying or another kid that's just not having a good day, she's right there to make sure that they're okay, and to let them know that she's their friend, and she's ready to play with them. She's like, I'll sing, I'll dance, and she loves that, loves to do that and make other people happy. And she's the first one that will come up and give you a hug.
What does she want to be when she grows up?
She wants to be a singer.
A singer?
Yes, she wants to be just as famous as Taylor Swift.
Is that right?
Yes, she loves music. She loves singing and dancing. She loves art, and she's very good at it. She draws like little fruit bowls, and the other day she's learning about bears, and so she drew a bear, and she was like, that's better than I could do.
Yeah, art and music, or you either have it or you don't, right? Mm-hmm. That's great.
And she's such a happy little girl.
She sure is. We every time she walks into the clinic, she's a ray of sunshine. We just love to see her, and she's just a wonderful, wonderful kid. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for being on Hope Stories this episode. We really appreciate it. Mm-hmm. That's it for another edition of Hope Stories. I'm your host, Mitch Colores. Remember, hope lives here.